Good afternoon, guys. Today I'll be walking you through the pointer math. We have learned a few days ago what pointers are and what they do. So pointers are these little functions that has an asterisk in front of it, which calls out the memory address of variables. And remember, the memory address are basically tells you where in the computer this variable is stored and how and the size of this variable. So I have created three different pointers that point to different numbers in this array called Bucky. And the Bucky array contains five numbers, as we can see from the square bracket. And I have created these pointers that calls out the first value and the second value and the third value and their memory address in this array. So when we print the cell, we'll be printing out this line which shows the memory address of the first and to the third number. And as you can tell, we have learned that the memory address of any number in array is 4. So that is 4 storage units. I think it's 4 bytes, but I can't be sure. So the array math we're going to talk about is, um, say, for example, we take BP0, which calls out the first number, the memory address of the first number, and we add it by 2. Now, what happens when we print this number out? Sorry, this function out. Mhm. Okay. Now, slight reminder: what was the memory address of our first function here? It was 0, and followed by 4 and 8. But you think in your mind that taking the first memory address and adding that by 2, this should appear as 2 in the last line since we have added by 2. But computer calculation works differently, and when you are adding the first function by 2, you're not taking the memory address and adding 2 to the memory address value. You're actually just adding 2 so to the number, the sequence that they are in. So the computer will think, BP0, the first function we have, adding that by 2. So the computer will count down 2 numbers, 4, 8. So the computer will stop at this number and think, well, that's the value I'm going to call. So when we print this out, BP0 has a new value counting down 2 from its original place, which is 8. So that's why in line 4 it printed out memory address 8. And this is how pointer math work. It's a little different to the math that's going on in your brain. Just keep in mind that you can't, when working with pointer math and memory address, you're not really changing the number of memory address. You're just changing the sequence that you're not changing the sequence. You're just changing. Um, you're just taking this number and count from top down, and you take that number, for example, and that's the number you get. Yeah, I did not explain that very well, but that's the video for today.